The ground is really dry. We're going to see multiple days of rain, 5 to 8 inches of rain in some spots across Oklahoma. And that's just too much at one time, despite the fact that we're in drought and we really could use the rain. Now, here's the pattern that's going to lead to our chance for flash flooding. We talked about the severe weather component, the tornado threat, the hail threat, the wind threat. But moisture, yes, a key component of severe weather, but it's also a key component with the proximity to the Gulf and this moisture that's going to be streaming to the north, that we will see torrential downpours that are really going to add up over the next couple of days. So we're going to see potentially what you have in the orange colors, 5 to 8 inches of rain, locally higher amounts. Very possible that we see some spots that eclipse 8 inches of rain. That will certainly cause flash flooding. But even in the spots 3 to 5 from Kansas City all the way down to the southern part of Oklahoma and even into Texas, that is enough on dry ground, depending on how quickly it falls, to cause flash flooding. Now, speaking of the dry ground, look at the drought situation in this part of the country, in this region. It is bad, and it's been bad for a lot of the summer. Now moving into the fall, it's been extremely dry, and the month of October was dry for so many of us across the lower 48, not just in Oklahoma, but we're talking about the Northeast as well, where we've got wildfire concerns. Here's the rain that's already ongoing. There's a flash flood warning already this morning in New Mexico. I would not be surprised to see more as not only the morning goes on, but as the afternoon goes on, as the rain spreads across Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, all the way up into areas like Iowa, starting off on Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. More rain for you in Oklahoma City, eastern Oklahoma. Now you're bringing into the foothills of the Ozarks, a little bit of elevation in play. And then you actually get into the Ozarks and parts of Arkansas, and that's where the flash flooding concern, of course, goes up anytime you bring elevation into play. This is through tomorrow morning. Kansas City, all the way back to Lubbock, Texas, and points to the south, maybe even into Midland. That's our concern for flash flooding. But watch as the days go on, our concerns get a little bit higher. So areas like Tulsa, northeastern Oklahoma, down into southeastern Kansas, that's where we're likely to see flash flooding as the week begins on Monday morning. Reynolds?
Okay, time now to talk the tropics.
November warmth as we start off the month of November. We have the first weekend right now of November, the first full week of November coming up, and that's going to feature a lot of late fall heat. In fact, by Monday, 190 million of us above average. And notice where a lot of that heat is centered. The Great Lakes and parts of the Ohio Valley. We'll get to the numbers here in a second. But 5 to 15 degrees above average, and that translates to 80s. This is for tomorrow, and mid-80s, Texas to over to Mississippi and Alabama. But look, 60s as you get into Chicago, and 68 in parts of the Ohio Valley. Those numbers only go up as we get into Monday, and more of that heat continues to build in. And by Tuesday, here we are on Election Day, 15 to 30 degrees above average. Ohio Valley over into the Northeast. Let's look at a few spots and, see how long this heat is going to stick around. Chicago, your average high is 55. Monday, Tuesday, warmest days the next couple of days. But even as we get into Thursday, we're not even close to that average high of 55. We stay above that. Pittsburgh, Election Day, 80 degrees. It's going to be a little bit toasty outside on Election Day. By the time we get to Thursday, we're still about 10 degrees above average, Reynolds. And I know that this is not the kind of pattern that you like.
Oh, very true. Well, recent hurricanes.
Let's travel a little bit this morning because it is the weekend and we're edging closer to the very busy travel holiday season. But this morning, not a lot of problems out there with a few exceptions. Some turbulence reports from the Northeast and along the Gulf Coast, but I would assume that we're probably seeing some or will see some out of the area where storms are already starting to fire up. Now, as we get deeper into the day, I do think we'll start to see some delays at the Wichita Airport, Kansas City, Oklahoma City, over into Tulsa, even down into Dallas, perhaps, as the weekend goes on. And it's not just air travel that could be affected by the chance for severe weather. It's road travel. Many of our major interstates, I-40, I-35, I-70 even, and even down through I-20. We're talking to you in Abilene over to Midland that we could see the chance for severe weather that will slow you down out on the roadways, because it's not just severe weather. This has a lot of moisture packed in with it, and that means torrential downpours while you're trying to drive many of these interstates. Always stressful, right? Tomorrow, we're expecting more severe weather. I-20 once again, I-40 around Oklahoma City. Then you've got I-35 from Wichita all the way down into areas like Dallas, where we're going to be expecting yet another round and multiple times tomorrow. So we're going to wake up with storms tomorrow. We get to the afternoon, we're going to see another round of storms fire up. Because of that, flash flooding is going to be likely in parts of Oklahoma, and it does not take much water. Never underestimate the power of water, because 6 inches of flowing water can knock you off your feet. It only takes 2 feet of water to actually float a vehicle. And we've seen this time and time again recently, especially, Reynolds, during hurricane season.
No doubt. Well, it's hard to believe it's